Best movies of 2006. Number 10, Little Children. A lonely, bitter housewife takes her child on play dates to have an affair with a lonely, bitter house husband. Living in the same town as a pedophile who's just been released from jail. Is he better or will he strike again? His one date with a woman his own age starts off pleasant enough, turns into one of the more disturbing scenes in a movie that's filled with them. Yet this is the kind of movie that shows the worst side of human beings and still makes you root for them to do better. Number 9, 13 Zamati. This movie starts off ant-slow. The main character here is a Russian immigrant to France repairing this old Frenchman's roof. When the Frenchman dies, or actually kills himself, this kid of about 22 steals his mail. The man looked for a letter every day, and when it arrived, it drove him to suicide. So instead of taking this as a sign or something, the young man, desperate for money, decides to use the train ticket and hotel fare inside the letter and journeys to where he thinks possible money is. When he gets there, he realizes he's way off over his head. When you see great, tight thrillers, the audience's blood pressure rises, the metabolism kicks into gear, and people sweat, and the temperature inside a theater goes up measurably. Rare that a horror movie or thriller can do that to you. When it does, it deserves high praise. This one is French with English subtitles. Number 8, Children of Men. In 2027, the whole world is infertile. The last baby born was in 2009, and he just turned 18 and then was killed. This slow-paced end to the human race has made everyone a little nuts. The last baby born dying has made people even more depressed, and the only city that seems to be holding it together is London. Our hero, played by Clive Owen, is given a task to complete. Get this foreign woman to the sea at the other end of the country and see that she gets on this boat. To do this, he'll have to evade police, local crazies running amok, and a rebel group looking to get her back. It's a grim look at the future, but what a great ending. Lucky Number 7. What a great little film. About 4 cool twists which I never saw coming. Done like a great magic act, which is how it was written. You think one guy's getting killed, and it turns out to be the guy across the room. Josh Hartnett, who is a really good young actor, plays a fish out of water as a guy mistaken for someone else, who was asked by one crime lord to pull off a hit on another crime lord. Morgan Freeman and Ben Kingsley play the crime lords. Number 6, Casino Royale. Best Bond ever. Best Bond movie, best Bond actor, most serious Bond film. I'm not a big fan of the series, but I love this film. Pan's Labyrinth. Number 5. The little girl's fantasy world shelters her from the madness of her real life. She's a stepdaughter of a brutal army captain during the Spanish Civil War. This little girl is led by a tall creature named Pan, and his commands to give her pause, but also give her purpose in trying to save her life and her freedom. Number 4, The Queen. This movie did the impossible. It made me appreciate Queen Elizabeth. I never liked this lady before. I thought she was cold and aloof, but that was even before Princess Diana's death. After it, I thought I despised her. This film tells the story of the royal family's reaction to Diana's death in '97 and how Tony Blair tried to save them from themselves. He was only Prime Minister 3 months when Diana was killed that night in Paris. But this movie shows the Queen's side of the story. Number 3, Babel. 3 stories told in 3 different countries about what trouble we can get into when we lack communication. An American woman gets shot while on a tour bus in Morocco. She needs quick medical attention, but there are no hospitals for hundreds of miles. Her children are back in the States, and their Mexican nanny decides to take them against the parents' wishes to Mexico for her son's wedding. And a deaf Japanese girl tries to fit into society. Number 2, United 93. A perfect movie for DVD because you can really use the subtitles to catch all the dialogue. This film was written from transcripts from the agencies involved on 9/11. The FAA, the military, the airlines, and the air traffic control towers. The realism is strong throughout, from the mundane to the terrifying. I assumed that the film would be only about Flight 93 and how it crashed into that Pennsylvania field, but it also encompasses all that went before on that day, and much of it is in real time. Certainly not for everyone to see, but that doesn't diminish its greatness. And number 1, Borat. Easily the funniest movie of the year, maybe of the decade. I laughed more at this movie than I did at any movie since Howard Stern's Private Parts, and maybe even more than that. And what clinched it for me was after seeing it on Wednesday night with 2 friends, I went back Sunday afternoon with my wife and 3 different friends, and laughed more on Sunday than I did on Wednesday. And now for the honorable mentions. Dreamgirls, Superman Returns, Happy Feet, The Departed, Blood Diamond, and now for movies that perhaps you haven't heard of. CSA, The Confederate States of America. This is the most creative movie of the year. What if the South had won the Civil War? It's a story told in documentary form like a Ken Burns film, using real facts and photos and spinning a different history of America. In some ways much, much worse, and in other ways not much different. Stranger Than Fiction. Will Ferrell turns down the heat so much in this film that it's almost like he isn't there. But his performance as Harold Crick is a gentle souffle that could be ruined by too much acting out, as he is wont to do. Emma Thompson is this brilliant author who is writing the story of a man's life, Harold Crick's life to be exact. And when her novel narrates his story, he can actually hear the narration in his head. And he tries to outrun the narration, but it always catches up to him. Half Nelson. A young white male teacher in Brooklyn named Dan Dunn befriends a 12-year-old female black student and tries to be a mentor to her. But despite her tough background and his comfortable background, he's the one with the problems, smoking crack and trying to make sense of his life. And finally, Sherry Baby. Maggie Gyllenhaal plays Sherry Swanson, a recent ex-convict / junkie who moves back into her New Jersey neighborhood and tries to revive a relationship with her little daughter. Maggie gives one naked performance in this film, and I don't mean just with clothes. The life of an ex-con and rehabbing junkie is nothing pretty, but to try and bring up a daughter in that environment makes it seem that much uglier. Ciao from the Freditor.